Welcome to Classic Game Room, coming to you from the Intergalactic Space Arcade. Why settle for just one game when you can mash 5 or 6 games into one? This is CROSSFIRE on the Sega Genesis.
CROSSFIRE! An applicable title because it crossed between, what is this? Like the Running Man, Airwolf, Xevious, Commando, Ikari Warriors, and any Toa-Plan vertical scrolling shooter like Fire Shark or Truxton. Choose your country to invade and earn a prize. Let's start with Guatemala. And cue Airwolf. Who's going to invade Guatemala? Not to be confused with Guatemala. That's just silly. And so is this game. I love CROSSFIRE. This game is absurd. It reminds me of Action Fighter on the Sega Master System, a game that tries to do a lot of different things and doesn't really do any of them well, yet it's actually pretty fun because of it. After the initial vertical scrolling shooter scene, we're going to strafe the enemy compound and wipe out as many enemies and cannons as possible before we invade on foot, a la Ikari Warriors. You gotta love this. Although it makes no practical sense, why would you fly by the enemy compound and then start on foot from the beginning? You'd think they would just drop him off at the door. I question this game's realism. Good shot, there you go. These enemies are crafty. They move back and forth when you're shooting at them. The bad guys in CROSSFIRE are absolutely terrible, especially in the vertical scrolling shooter scenes, which feel a lot like Fire Shark from Toa-Plan. Except instead of having any sort of rational enemy attack patterns, they just fly straight into you, and that makes the game really hard. The on-foot sequences aren't too bad, assuming you can clear out most of the cannons with your helicopter, because they're kind of dangerous. You can only shoot them by jumping. Naturally. Be careful when flying. It's not so much that you have to worry about the enemy shooting you, as you have to just avoid them. They try to crash into you every single time. Now cue the bass track from the Airwolf theme song, and our friend with the bow tie gives us monies that we can spend on weapons, except I can't afford anything after the first round. So let's just invade Cuba. This won't cause any sort of international incident at all. Gotta watch out for those kamikaze pilots. That's what makes this game tough. They move really fast, faster than you, and crash into you every single time. But there's also no variation, so just memorizing this game will eventually get you through it. I haven't tried playing the missions in reverse order yet, but that should work in theory, because then you could buy laser beams and bigger bombs and stuff, and even equip your guy in the ground with a shotgun. After we save the prisoner, we're going to fly through the level again, except it's harder the second time around. Let's meet some of the bad guys from Xevious, who are a real pain in the ass. They also just fly straight into you. It's not a great game, yet there's something extremely likable about CROSSFIRE. Sadly, the title is kind of generic. If you Google CROSSFIRE, you'll turn up a lot of different things, not this. Until now, of course, now that you know about it, because I recommend CROSSFIRE for you Sega Genesis enthusiasts. There's just not many games like this. How about a shout out to my man Alexander from Duisburg, Germany for sending this great game to the show. Thank you once again, Alexander. CROSSFIRE is fabulous. The only thing that could possibly make this game better is if your helicopter transformed and stomped on enemies.